like to start by talking about the popular fashion bloggers internationally and locally. So, the first fashion blogger who I'm going to talk about is Chiara Ferrani. Chiara Ferrani is an Italian based fashion blogger who is also a law student and a shoe designer. She started her blog in 2009. The title of her blog is The Blonde Salad, and she has approximately 800,000 unique visitors monthly. And she has collaborated with luxurious brands such as Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior, and other brands are listed on my slide. Um, and her rate is, or her talent fee is rumored to be 50,000 US dollar per brand collaboration. So that means just by promoting the brands on her site, she's earning 50,000 US dollar. So So the next fashion blogger who I'm going to talk about is Brian Gray Yambao, who's a Filipino. He's also known as Brian Boy, and he was named as one of New York Post nine hottest internet celebrities. He was also featured in the top reality show, America's Next Top Model, as the social media correspondent, and he is said to be earning 100,000 US dollar per year just through leasing ad spaces on his blog. And the 100,000 US dollar still excludes his appearance fees. So there. So there you can see how lucrative. And of course, in the Philippines, we also have local bloggers who are quite known in countries outside the Philippines, such as Camille Ko. She was nominated as Mango's It Girl last year. And we also have the famous sister of the famous celebrity stylist, Lorene Uy, who happens to be a graduate of my alma mater as well. Um, and lastly, we have Tricia Gosingtian, who has also gained popularity in the international community. So these local bloggers, they have already collaborated with big brands such as SM Department Store, Casio, and actually even dental products and skincare products. So there. Um, Now, having discussed the popular fashion bloggers, let us now take a look at their fashion sense. So this is Chiara Ferrani. In this picture, we can see that she's sporting a Louis Vuitton bag, which costs around 2,000 US dollar. These pictures were actually taken from her blog. And here we also see her wearing an extremely short shorts, and which is obviously immodest because only less than one-fourth of her leg is covered. And here's another picture of her sporting a Chanel bag. And Chanel bags normally cost around from 1,000 US dollar to 3,000 to 5,000 US dollar. And what's so interesting about these brands is that the prices of these bags actually outpace the inflation of non-luxury consumer goods. So they never go on sale, so they have no way but up. Here we see Brian Boy. His fashion is actually sensual and disturbing for me because it's not appropriate for males. And here we also see him sporting an Alexa mulberry bag, which costs around 2,000 US dollar. So this is his sense of fashion. He's used to wearing sheer, see-through, and bold colors. So after having seen the type of fashion that they promote in their blogs, I'd like to show you the elements of a popular blog. So let us take a look at Chiara Ferrani's The Blonde Salad. Oops. Okay. So this is Chiara Ferrani's blog, and let us take a look at the left side of her blog. On the left side, we see promotional activities of collaborating brand being featured on her blog. And in the body of her post, she talks about a certain brand which she highlighted in red text. And this is actually a hyperlink to the brand's online store. So for those who are not so familiar with hyperlinks, it is a link from a hypertext to another site. So this is activated whenever you click on the hyperlink, which is the text in red. And do you know that these bloggers get paid even when you just click on the hyperlink? So that's how they earn money. So in the following slide, it's actually more vivid here. So this is the content of her blog post. Externally, these hyperlinks are just enumerations of what she's wearing in the photo. But once you click the link, you will be brought to an online store and you will see the fur jacket, which actually costs 158 US dollar, which is equivalent to less than 7,000 pesos. And she actually gets a commission, by the way, when the site generates a sale. So here, let's take a look at Brian Boy's blog. So we observed the same thing in Brian Boy's blog. His blog posts contain images of products, which he quoted as his current obsession. This is actually a Proenza bag, and it costs around 2,000 US dollar. And once you click on the image, you will actually be brought to the online store below that sells the designer bag. So after having discussed all of these, what do we infer from these? Given the apparent dependence of consumer brands on these fashion bloggers, we see the influence of bloggers on their readers' perception of objects. In fact, one of the studies has shown that most people purchase products based on blog recommendations, and in the study, none of them said that blog recommendation is not a factor in influencing their purchasing behavior. And in addition, most consumers view blog recommendation as something that is very beneficial to them. So after having said all of these, in reality, readers of these blogs are actually embracing what Pope John Paul II called as consumerism. So what is consumerism? Consumerism is a way of living in which the person makes material goods the object of his or her desire. It is the preference of material goods over spiritual goods. So a simple manifestation of consumerism is when you have 1,000 pesos and you spend 700 to buy clothes for yourself and you donate 300 to Yolanda victims. It's actually a simple manifestation or a trace of consumerism already. It's an example of that a person's value is being measured by having rather than being. So these blogs actually promote the ideology that a person's value is being measured by how many designer bags she owns, how many expensive shoes she has, rather than the good that she has. So, therefore, what do we learn out of this? Sorry. Um, So first, I do not mean to say that fashion blogs are bad in itself. It is actually an expression of creativity. And being creative is something good. However, we ought to keep in mind that with the wide array of information being presented to us on the net, we have to remember that we should read articles or blogs with a critical mind. So before we allow ourselves to be influenced by them, we have to ask ourselves the following questions. Do they help me develop as a person? When they promote these products, do they have my greatest good in mind, which is to reach for the ultimate good, God? And secondly, we have to recognize that these blogs view their readers as a statistic and a means to generate profit. They do not have our greatest good in mind. And lastly, blogging is not bad. It can be a modern day synagogue where we can promote Christianity in different forms. And living by example is the best apostolate. And before I end, I would just like to stress that modesty does not only apply in clothes. Modesty is a form of disposition. When you say that someone is immodest, it suggests that the person is boastful or annoyingly expressive about oneself. So that's why you can say that someone is immodest when someone is arrogant or proud. So as our patron saint, Saint Josemaria said, there can be many forms of pride. A person can be proud through the way he or she dresses, through the way he or she talks, and through the way he or she speaks. So when someone excessively speaks about himself or herself in front of other people, it is actually a sign of being immodest. So when someone sports an expensive bag, it can also be a form of pride. So I think the antidote, therefore, to immodesty is nothing but humility. And modesty is deeply rooted in humility. So, and by saying that, that ends my presentation. Thank you.